All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Green White Checkered TV. Tonight we got the 87 Cup Series here with the Area 51 Racing League at Talladega. So the drivers make their qualifying laps right now, so we're letting them complete those laps, and we'll see where everybody falls in line for their qualifying results for the evening. I'll say with that, though, we're going to pull up our easier point standings here going into the race. So right now, James Ledford has a 17-point lead over Chad Wilkes. You got Eric Schaus in second place, just 9 out from Chad. And then in fourth is Dwight Plush. Fifth is Josh Schichterman. And then sixth, you got Todd Merkel. Seventh, Michael Spell. Eighth, Robert Richards. Ninth, Kenny Kolakowski. And in 10th is Jim Brooks. So we'll see. Obviously, it's new build day, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully, some drivers are able to make it in on time before qualifying finishes up. So there's a few drivers that are in that top 10 points that I do not see this evening. Either possibly have something going on, or of course potential of maybe still having to download that update. It was a pretty decent sized update tonight, so hopefully they'll be able to get in, but we'll just have to wait and see. So right now we'll let these drivers finish up their qualifying laps, and then we'll get things going in just a moment. Alright, so we've got the grid for this evening. On pole position is going to be our points leader entering the race, James Ledford. In second place, that number 83 of Jack Walls. In third is Quabi Brooks. Fourth, Charles Johnson. Rounding out the top 5, you got Michael Spell. And then you got 6th through 8th here, Todd Merkel, Ted Decker Jr., and Timothy Wright. And you got the remainder of the field here. Robbie Richards in 9th, Dwight Plush in 10th, and then Jim Brooks will round out the field here in 11th place. You see the pace cars just started to roll. Alright, so yeah, sure enough, we're going to definitely have some drivers that were up in the points that aren't going to be in this event, unfortunately, so that's going to definitely help James Ledford out in his championship attempt here this evening. So, like I say, unfortunately, at 72 of Eric Schaus does not look to be here, nor the 17 of Chad Wilkes. Able to chat a little bit there with Josh Schichterman. Unfortunately, he is out of town working, so that 199 machine will not be gracing us with his presence either. So he had to do some work out of town. So say good luck though with the work you're doing though, Josh. To say I've been there before. Say sometimes you just got to do it and get the job done, make the boss happy, and kind of carry on from there. So yeah, so say hopefully these guys will put on a pretty good show tonight. Say again, 75 laps. Fuel window sounds like it's in the mid to low 20 range, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. So we'll see where everybody's going to wind up here with the fuel strategy. So again, 75 laps. So I feel like for 75 laps, if you go in the 20s, if they can stretch it to 25, that's obviously going to be the ideal goal. But I'm just not sure if they're going to be able to make that happen with these cars. I know with the Cup cars you can stretch it, but these 87 cars may not be as able to stretch the fuel as the regular ones. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm saying I think we're going to have a lot of Chevys in this race. I'll have to go through the field a little bit, but I have a feeling Todd Merkel might be one of the lone Fords in the race this evening. And yeah, sure enough, he is the lone Ford. So say if there's any manufacturers battles going on, Todd's not going to have any friends, so he's going to make things happen on his own. But wouldn't be surprised to see him up in contention. Say he's been running really well with these lately. Alright, so with that, you see they're coming through the travel here. Of course, got to get through the travel until they take the green. And again, here on the initial start, they'll start the green on the flag, and then on the restarts, the leader controls it. And we are underway here at Talladega. Again, it looks like a pretty even start for the front two rows here. You see Charles Johnson trying to see if he can help that 83 of Jack Walls on the top side, but looks like the inside line's got going a little better. So you see 48 Jim Sledford is going to lead the way. Got right behind him Quabi Brooks, and then in third is now that 81 of Todd Merkel up to that third position. Oh, you see the 83 a little bit high there in 3 and 4. Looks like he's going to keep it off the wall, though, against the 83 of Jack Walls. Again, still early, so say not too worried about him. I'm saying the draft is so critical here. Say it really pulls these cars right up into it. And yeah, oh, you see the 28 of Charles Johnson got a little bit loose there through the travels, able to hang on to it, though. But he's definitely trying to work this top line at the moment. So right now, the top 3 still staying in line here on the inside group. Looks like Robbie Richards missed the grid, but looks like he is on track now, about 20 seconds out. So say he'll need a yellow to try to get back into contention here. But again, still plenty of time for things to happen here. And you can see the field's kind of split up a little bit into 2 groups. Ted Decker Jr. right there in that 79 car. He right now is showing in the 6th position. Still in this lead pack, but then the next car in line is that 83 of Jack Walls with Jim Brooks right behind him. They're about a second or so behind this lead pack, so they're going to have to be careful not to fall too far back behind these leaders, because they definitely don't want to lose the lead draft here. See that 81 there of Todd Merkel now moved up into 2nd spot, but he's got a battle to his outside. That 28 of Charles Johnson. Charles is going to try to make the top line work here through 3 and 4. So right now, I think with the tires and fuel and everything the way it is, I think the inside line's definitely got the preferred groove here for the moment, but I could definitely see that top line picking up especially as the tires start wearing again. Even at these plate tracks, these 87 cars definitely do eat up the tires. So they're just kind of sliding these things all over the place. So let's actually hop on board of this 81 and we'll see what he's doing as he races on here. You see he's trying to hold as steady of a wheel as he can there. And say just to his outside corner was that 28 of Charles Johnson as they came through turn number 4. We're going to come around here to start lap number 5 of the scheduled 75. And say it looks like, yeah, you see the rest of the group here is pretty much joined back on the train here. You see Jim Brooks there in the 76 right behind him, Timothy Wright in the 70. He's right back in there as well. And then say the last car right now trying to get back up into this mix as well is going to be that number 44, Dwight Plesh. I say we kind of see Dwight do this a lot. He just kind of lags back and just stays out of the way, make sure he stays where it's nice and clear. And then say not too long later, you'll see him charging back up to the front. Seems like he's been really good on his tires, especially with these 87 cars. So Dwight right now showing in the 10th position, and you can see he's right back onto this lead train here as they come off of 4 to complete lap number 5. You can see James there just got a little bit high there in 1 and 2. Todd tried to look a little bit low, couldn't quite get the run he wanted to, but he's gonna see. Looks like he's gonna stay lined up here. He doesn't want to open up that bottom as of yet. You see the 79 right behind him though, Ted Decker Jr. He's gonna be ready to pounce should anything happen. But right now though, that 81 here, Thunderbird of Todd Merkel all over the back of James Left here. Just trying to keep that pressure on, see if he can force him into a bit of a mistake. Now you see though that number 79 of Ted Decker Jr. He's going to jump to the top here, see if he can make something happen with that momentum up top. But we'll see. I think that might open up for an attack from the 28, and sure enough, there he goes, Charles Johnson to the inside. That's going to be that battle right now for the 3rd spot. Oh, you see Ted slid a little bit wide there off of 2, able to keep it off the wall. That's actually a really easy spot to get into the wall. Say the car just kind of washes out pretty aggressively, and it'll just wash up right up into that wall. So he's able to keep it off of the wall there. But you can see now, though, we got a little bit more movement going on around here. Saying Ted actually with that has cycled pretty far back now. I say he was obviously fighting for that 3rd position. Now he's right now falling back to about the 8th, 9th position here, as he comes around through the tri-oval here. And yeah, this time around scored in the 7th position, saying still under challenge as well from that 70 of Timothy Wright. So it shows how quick things can happen. Choose the wrong line at the wrong time, and it'll definitely move you to the back. So it's all about just putting yourself in that right position. And one driver that's definitely working on doing that now is Jack Walls. Fell back a little bit on the start, but he's definitely charging forward now in that number 83 Pennzoil car. You see James is starting to actually use a little bit more track, especially through the tri-oval. You saw there he let it wash up all the way to the top, and then cuts it back down, entering turn number 1. So again, talking about that fuel and everything, wonder if that's starting to come into play a little bit here for that number 48 machine. So always you see Michael Spell really close there off of turn 2, then kind of drift down a little bit towards the 70, but able to keep it in the right direction. So yeah, close call between the two of them there off of turn 2. But we stay green here, and again, we mentioned looks like Dwight Plush still kind of doing that cruise control mode, still in this lead draft here, just kind of taking it easy. And say I think those 2 in front of him as well, the 53 of Quabi Brooks, 76 of Jim Brooks, I think they're in the same mindset here. Just kind of right in the back here, just maybe try to save some fuel. We talked about that fuel number. If they can get to 25, that would be huge for these drivers. It'd be able to have the potential of making it on 2 stops. So we'll have to see if that comes into play. But right now that 48 James Ledford is probably doing no fuel savings right now, leading the way. As I have a feeling that the foot is to the floorboard on that number 48 Goodwrench car. As we are 3 wide here down the backstretch, use Charles Johnson, 83 of Jack Walls, 81 of Todd Merkel. They get back lined up though as they get through turn 4. It looks like positions for the most part stayed the same there, but one car moving forward here little by little is that number 70 of Timothy Wright. Timothy right now showing in that 5th position. I think this time around he will be up to 4th. And I'm saying Timothy started in that 8th position, so he's just been kind of slowly but surely working his way forward here in that number 70 machine. So up front though, James Ledford still leading the way. Is definitely not for any lack of effort from that 81 of Todd Merkel. Todd's keeping him extremely honest in that number 81 car. I think one slip of him, you'll see that 81 try to take a look here on the inside. Definitely looks like that's where you need to be here. The other thing that could come into play is fuel and tire strategies. Again, we talked how slow these cars' pit stops are. Full tires and 4 tires and fuel is usually about 22 or so seconds. So even with they run reduced fuel tanks here, so there's the potential someone might try taking 2 tires, get some track position and go that route. So because let's say we're probably about just over 10 laps or so away from the fuel window, or from the pit window I should say, so we'll keep an eye on that. I'm saying right now you see that 28 of Charles Johnson in a battle with that number 70 of Timothy Wright. This is for the 3rd position here. And right behind them you've got Ted Decker Jr. in that 79, and outside of him the 83 of Jack Walls. And here comes Michael Spell joining the party as well in that number 3 machine as he comes through start finish line just underneath Jack Walls here. But up front, again, say everything's staying pretty settled out with these drivers here. As they, again, I think with the shorter field, they know that they can kind of just take it easy, minimize mistakes, and that's going to take them a lot further along in this race. So I think that's what we're seeing here. Just probably a little bit of give and take, and again, just probably a little bit of positioning themselves for these. I think a lot of these drivers probably hoping for green flag pit stops, so that's where they can try to kind of make their time here on track. You can see pretty much everybody's single filed here now. So you see Jack Walls just barely snuck underneath the inside of that number 3 of Michael Spell. It looks like Jack's going to get that spot entering turn number 3 for the moment at least. So Michael's going to try to see if he can ride the momentum on the top side and maybe get back around that number 83. But right now it looks like most of these cars here, again, all hugging the bottom. So we'll see how that goes. But that being said, though, it looked like Jack actually got held up a little bit there off of 4 by that number 79. So yeah, so it looks like you see there Michael's able to get back around on the top side. It looks like Jim Brooks, he's going to try to start making this top line go as well in that number 76. So as we are on lap number 15. Say one driver we haven't mentioned too much, again, missed the grid, but is still on the lead lap is Robbie Richards here. In that number 12 car is showing 36 seconds out of the lead. However, still solidly on the lead lap by about, I'd say, a full backstretch pretty much. And so you see now there's actually a new battle for that number 48 of James Ledford. He's got that 28 of Charles Johnson right behind him. And actually, we missed something because Todd Merkel, he is way off the back here. We'll go back and see what happened to this number 81 here. We are under caution. And you just see, I'll say while we're watching that, let's go back a little bit more. I'm not sure if the 80 or 81 got loose or if there's actually a little bit of contact or not. So when you get a car really tucked up on you, it really gets the car loose. But we'll wait on the entry. It's hard to say, but it really just looks like the 81's back just stepped around on him there. However, though, you can see he's able to keep it gathered up here. So really good hands by Todd to be able to hang on to that car. You can see he's still working the wheel here. You can see the tire kind of moving back and forth there. So we'll go back to full speed because he's doing that at about 180, 190 miles an hour there. So then, though, there was actually another incident here further, or just afterwards, which I believe involved Michael Spell. So we'll jump over to him and see. It wasn't too far afterwards, I believe. So let's just stay here on watching the number 3 car. Oh, yeah, he got loose there. Oh, big contact. Oh, wow, a lot of contact. Oh, my goodness. That 3 car got stuck in the catch fence for a little bit, and then finally the catch fence lets him go. Let's go back. I mean, that's wild there. We got to see, because there's a lot of cars that had some pretty severe damage. The 70 as well took a really big shot here. So we'll slow things down here. You can see the 3 get loose there off of the tri-oval. Unfortunately, gets in the back of the 70. Nothing that Timothy can do here. And you see the 76 of Jim Brooks, he's right in that as well. And so you can see that's where the contact got got those drivers up. And yeah, my goodness, you see the 70 and the 3 both flying up in the air. Jim Brooks with a little bit of damage as well. You see the 53 Quabi Brooks jumping as low as he can to get around that one as well. And so I'll say now the question is who is able to land on their wheels. That's going to be critical, of course, to try to get rolling again. And you see the 70 of Timothy Wright, he gets staying on his wheels. I think the 76 did as well, but unfortunately I don't think Michael Spells is lucky. He had to take a tow. So that is what brought us under this first caution here. You can see definitely fast repair used on that number 76 car. So I think we definitely see the fast repair on that number 70 as well, which it looks like, I believe he'll, so you see right now he's behind the pace car, be the first car 1 lap down. So we'll see how that's going to go for him. And I believe we've just seen our first strategy call here of the evening. That number 53, Quabi Brooks, he took 2 tires, 10.5 second pit stop versus everybody else in the 22 second range on their pit stops there. As another driver we had mentioned that this should benefit, it's going to be that 12 of Robbie Richards. He's now going to be still on the lead lap, but now be right back up with the pack here as well. So it's going to be a huge benefit for that number 12 machine. Looks like he's going to get his damage repaired as much as he can on its own versus using a fast repair here, which I think makes a lot of sense at this point in the race. And then I think everybody else is back on track. See, again, we mentioned Timothy Wright. And then, Michael Spell, he's still, I think, getting a tow. Unfortunately, it's going to be a long tow just because of where he was on track. He's going to have to go all the way around. So he's waiting for that service to be able to get started, which I think will put him 1 lap down. So we'll wait and see on that one. However, up front, so again, that 53 Quabi Brooks took 2 tires there, I believe. James Ledford, however, is going to take 4 in that 48. Charles Johnson as well. And then the remainder of the top 5, you've got Jack Walls in the 83. And then Dwight Plush in that number 44 car. So those are the top 5 here at the moment. We'll see if there's any strategy calls for some of these drivers. Maybe top off on the one to go here this time around. Or if they feel like they should be okay on fuel one way or the other. As I did mention that 12, he's back on track. He's going to get caught back up with the field. I say now, just unfortunately, again, Michael Spell just hoping he can get that car serviced here before the leaders get back around. Actually, I see the 76 here stopped on track. I think he might have to wait for the 12 of Robbie Richards, so that's why he's parked here, trying to make sure he does not get put a lap or doesn't get a pit penalty here. So I'll wait and see. Something else might be going on with this 76 car. I'm not sure. So 53 is in the pits, and here come the. Looks like this time they're gonna probably take 4 tires. So I'm not sure what the strategy. Maybe just wanted to see what the tires would have done, and also maybe at least get an idea too of what the pit stop would take time-wise for a green flag cycle. Might be something to keep in mind as well. So we'll wait and see. So that's gonna get the 53 back out on track. So unfortunately, Michael Spell still waiting for that tow to complete. And yeah, that 76 of Jim Brooks still stuck here. I'm not sure if something's... Let's jump on board. So I'm not sure, maybe the game froze or something like that. Because I say, looks like the car is idling. So he's got not too long until he's going to have to get going here. But yeah, something going on, unfortunately, with this number 76. So that being said, though, back up front, though, we're lined up here again for the restart. We'll see. Hopefully, I say again, hopefully Jim Brooks is able to say he's down on the apron, so I don't think. Oh no, I see him moving now. He's going to get rolling here again. Also, possibly a VR issue or something like that is always potential. So he's going to have to hustle though if he wants to try to catch up to the field here. So and actually, I see Michael Spell. He's gotten going again as well. So that's going to put unfortunately Michael will be 2 laps down. And it looks like Timothy did not get the wave around, so he's going to be trapped 1 lap down right now. So those are where those cars are going to line up here. So Timothy's going to be hoping for a yellow to get his 1 lap back, and then Michael's going to need some more help to get those 2 back, unfortunately, for that number 88 machine. Alright, so pace cars coming through turn number 4. Right now the 88 is entering turn number 3 now. 76 just a couple of seconds behind. So it'll be tight, but I think they'll catch the field here coming before the green. Say if it was Daytona, it might be a little closer. But again, with that different start-finish line here at Talladega, I think they'll be in good shape. So that's going to put back in the hands of James Ledford. Has pretty much led all the laps here other than that pit stop cycle. Charles Johnson to his outside, Jack Walls in third, Dwight Plush in fourth. And again, that 48 can go whenever he wants to here. Looks like he's going to wait for that green flag to fly. And yeah, so no early jumps for him. I'm saying that's not a bad call here, especially at these plate races, because I say you can get a huge lead and they're just going to come steamrolling back on by you. So I think that's what James Ledford is doing there. Just try to keep the pack kind of bunched together, not allow these guys behind to get that big run on them in that number 48. All right, so far James Ledford's still hanging on to lead. You see Jack Walls was right behind him in that number 83 Pennzoil machine. So you can see it actually looks like Jack might be able to sneak to the inside here. Looks like James gave up the inside line just a little bit. Good move by Jack there. So he's going to dive to the inside here. Looks like he will get the lead through 1 and 2. Charles Johnson's going to follow along. Looks like Ted Decker Jr. is going to try to follow along as well. So that 48 machine is going to have to probably fight hard here to try to get back towards the front, or at least try to get back to the inside line. Otherwise, it looks like he's going to fall back to probably about the 5th position as Charles Johnson in 28 makes a big move on the 83 of Jack Walls. So Charles is going to try to get that top side here now through 3 and 4. Right now, say nose just ahead of that 28 machine. And he's also got a pretty good draft from behind from that 48 of James Ledford. So we'll see how things go here through the tri-oval as they come around. We're going to start lap number 22, which will give us 54 to go. Yeah, and sure enough, you see Charles is able to get that lap led in that number 28. But again, here comes that inside line. Again, some good momentum. Dwight Plush now has jumped to the bottom side. He's going to get behind that number 83 of Jack Walls. Looks like Jack was able to clear for the moment that number 28. However, Charles is getting a good push down the back from the 48 of James Ledford as they come into turn number 3. Oh, you see that 79 Ted Decker Jr. got a little bit loose there entering turn 3. So that's something that the drivers have mentioned. If you get a car right back on the rear spoiler of your car, it gets loose on entry. So I think that's what we just saw there. And now you see now that 44 Dwight Plush, he wants to try to play. Oh, no, he's going to get loose through the tri-oval. Contact between the 44 and the 79. So I think I thought I saw the 79 take a bit of a shot there. So it's going to put us back under yellow. Looks like it's going to be and I think there may have been some damage as well for that number 81 of Todd Merkel. Let's try to take a look at his left front corner here. It looks like a little bit of damage there, not too bad. Let's go back and let's take a closer look though. So I think what happened there for that 44 Dwight Plush, just that kind of the move he had to make, he had to put too much wheel in the tri-oval, and that's what got the car step around. And unfortunately just wasn't able to hang on to it. So you can see it almost sneaks right between the 79 and the 81 here. But unfortunately he's going to clip the left rear of Ted Decker Jr. And then you see Ted coming up across the track. And actually gets into, I didn't even see that the first time. Charles Johnson gets a pretty heavy hit there. But yeah, I think Todd Merkel is going to be in pretty good shape here. I don't think that was too bad of a hit for him. And so you can see it looks like the rest of these cars are able to sneak on by. And I think the beneficiary of all of this, though, when it's all said and done, is going to be that 70 of Timothy Wright. So I don't believe I saw Timothy get involved in that one. So that should give him a lap back and get him back on the lead lap here. And then we'll see if everybody's going to pit or not. We might see some stay out, some pit. However, if everybody pits, which it looks like at the moment, looks like we have one driver staying out, which I was going to suggest if one driver could have stayed out there, I was going to suggest that 88 and Michael Spell. That way he could get one of his laps back the old-fashioned, or not the old-fashioned, sorry, with the wave around instead of the lucky dog here. So it looks like the 53 is going to stay out. 70 is going to go around and get back on the lead lap. So it's going to give us 10 cars back on the lead lap. And saying it looks like that number 53 of Quabi Brooks, though, is going to be shown as our race leader here. And it looks like through the pit stop cycle, Charles Johnson's going to come out in second. Looks like he did fuel only there, 7.4 second pit stop. And it looks like everybody on back is going to be taking 4 and possibly some damage repair as well. So let's jump and take a look at Todd Merkel. Yeah, it looks like he's going to get some of that damage repair to the nose of that number 81 machine. So, yep, there you go. You see it popped out just a little bit there. So the crew's doing their job to get that damage fixed, and so he's going to get back on his way. You see just a little crinkle there in the nose still, but I don't know. That looks pretty good. And again, that's going to be worth saving that fast repair for sure. So say Todd Merkel and that number 81 Ford Thunderbird's going to get back going here. So it'll be shown right around the 9th or so position. But again, I'll say it's a pretty small field here at Talladega. Obviously, you'll be able to gain spots pretty quickly. Just going to put yourself in the right place at the right time. So I don't think Todd's worried too much yet. And again, we still are going to restart. We're going to restart here with 50 to go. So if they can go about, if they could get to that 25 lap window, we've been talking about that already. If they can get to that window, then maybe they can make it on a one-stopper, but I just don't know if they can stretch that many laps. So we'll have to wait and see. So while they're riding around under yellow, we'll step away for a moment, and we'll come back here on the 1 to go. Alright, so you can see lights are off in the pace car down the backstretch right here. So again, race leader Quabi Brooks did not pit here, so it's not a big difference, but he's got about 5 more laps on, or 5 less laps of fuel, I should say, than the rest of the field. 2 drivers that pitted there on the 1 to go. The 70 Timothy Wright, who just got his lucky dog back on the lead lap, and then also the 80 of Michael Spell, who's 2 laps down. I think that's a great call for Michael here. If he can stretch it that little bit extra, depending on if and when a caution falls, that extra lap of fuel could come in handy for that number 3 machine. So we'll have to wait and see, though, as this run unfolds, of course. So right now we're just going to finish up, get to that 3rd mark of the race, and we'll have 2/3 of this race to go. Right now we're going to be at 50 to go at the line. We've had so far 2 cautions for the 5 laps in this 25 laps so far in this race. Alright, so we'll see this time with that 53. Is he going to do the same as the 48 did and wait till the green flag flies, or is he going to jump early? We'll have to wait and see here as it comes through. You can see that everybody's starting to stack up right behind him. Everybody's tightening up, being ready to go as soon as he drops the hammer. But right now it looks like he's going to do the same. Looks like he might wait till that green flag flies. And sure enough, looks like he's going to go as soon as that green flag gets waved in the air. But he's able to get a pretty good start there. So it looks like Charles Johnson's going to try to, yeah, he's going to sneak into inside line and get right behind that 53. Oh, contact between the 12 and the 44. They're both going to the inside here, so I don't think it's going to bring out a yellow
But unfortunately, it's going to cost both these drivers a ton of track position, and say, let's go see how they made contact with each other. So watch the 12 here of Robbie Richards. I wonder if it was maybe just a missed shift or something like that that sent him down across the track, or if he just thought he was clear. Yeah, I don't think he realizes that the 44 was there, unfortunately, so that's where that contact happened between the two of them. And so you see it sends them both down to the inside. Looks like Robbie's able to keep it just off the wall, though. So he's back on track, unfortunately, again, out of the draft here. Dwight Plush is in a little bit worse shape. He's further off the back. Up front, though, we can see 28 Charles Johnson's got underneath that number 53 of Quabi Brooks. That's the battle right now for the lead. So we're going to move Charles Johnson to the front for the moment. Right behind him, Jack Walls and then number 83. And then again, we talked about Todd Merkel being able to work his way back up to the front here. And yeah, it looks like as things continue here, he'll probably be able to get right back up into that third position. And we saw him to get that damage repaired manually instead of using that fast repair. So I think that was definitely the right call, because you can see that car has still a lot of pace in it. No, that's always going to be a concern. The race leader disappears in front of you there, but it looks like they're able to keep things going, though. So right now, Jack Wall still in that second spot behind Charles Johnson. As they come through the trial here, we'll be at 29 laps into the race, 47 to go at the line. So right now Charles Johnson controlling this race here. We've seen him also have some pretty good pace. Pretty much the two main leaders have been that 28 and the 48. So we'll see if anything changes as this race unfolds. But again, I feel like a lot of these drivers are probably just kind of trying to be ready for the pit stop cycle to make things happen here. So on the outside line, the 53 car has not done too bad. I wasn't sure how well he was going to be able to keep up on the top side. But he's actually holding pretty even, actually gaining a little bit of ground at times on that inside line. You can see he's able to get that the momentum is actually working really well for him here. I think he's kind of got things figured out pretty well with this car here. See a little loose there on the entry of turn number 1, but he's able to hang on to it. But you can see he's getting right up to the door, though, again, of that number 28 of Charles Johnson as he comes out of turn number 2. And we'll see how that momentum is able to carry him right to the side of that number 28. But again, right now that 28's got all the draft here as they're going to enter turn number 3. Oh, you can see a little bit of a bobble there through the trial. But that's going to give that 53 a ton of momentum here. See, Charles went back to the bottom to try to protect that, but the 53 has made a big charge here. So that's going to give him just the nose in front here. But again, Charles is going to fight back on the inside line. So we'll see how they come through the turns 2 and down the backstretch. Again, 53's just got a nose ahead. And he's got Ted Decker Jr. now behind him. But at the moment, again, I say as my forward-legged announcer is very excited about everything that's going on here. Or wants dinner, I'm not sure which. But yeah, right now that 28 Charles Johnson, 53 Quabi Brooks side by side here, coming out of turn number 4. We are at 45 to go here. We're going to start 32 this time around. But again, these two are definitely holding side by side. You can see Jack Wall's tempted to make it 3 wide, but he's going to think better of it at this point in the race. And again, at the line, though, they're right side by side here. I'm not sure actually got the lead that last time by. You see leaders are caught up to that 44 of Dwight Plush, unfortunately. And this is actually bad news for Michael Spell, because this is now going to put Dwight 1 lap down whereas earlier there was nobody a lap down, so Michael have got those spots. So this is actually the opposite of what he's been looking for, because now if there is a caution, that would actually, unless Dwight's involved, that would give that free spot back to that number 44 instead of the number 3. See, the inside line's been able to work a little better now. They've been able to get around now that 53 just by a little bit, but he's not done. He's still trying to make this top side happen. So we mentioned that 79 of Ted Decker Jr. He's also right there in that battle with that 79 working the top side as well. So he's in that white number 79 American Airlines paint scheme there. And we mentioned Todd Merkel moving back up to that third car on the inside. And of course our points leader and early race leader, the 48 of James Ledford, right now hanging out in just about the 5th or 6th position, depending on where he is in relation to that 79 of Ted Decker Jr. here. And then Timothy Wright got that lucky dog that last time around, so he's back on the lead lap here in the mix here for the race. Again, he was caught up in that earlier incident between himself and the 3 and the 76. But actually we got contact in front. You see the 28 and the 83 contact. Oh, James Ledford involved as well in the 48. You see a few drivers trying to sneak around here to not be involved in it. Looks like James is able to get rolling again there. Looks like Charles, a little bit of damage to his car. Jack Walls, not too much damage as well. And I think I saw, unfortunately, Michael Spell, he had to go through the grass to avoid that one. But I don't see any damage to his car, so let's take a better look at that and see what happened. We're kind of going through the field a little bit when that all went on. So let's see what caused this incident here. Alright, so we're going to watch the 28 of Charles Johnson. See, he gets a little bit high through the trial. Oh, I think it's almost similar to what we saw earlier there. He gets a little bit loose. He's actually got it pointed pretty straight here. Does he get a bump? Oh, actually, see, the 83 actually goes up into the 28 car. So that's where the contact was between the two of them. And then you can see the 81 of Todd Merkel, 53, trying to make sure they get around it through the top. I think, Todd just barely squeaks by. James Ledford not so lucky there. And then we'll watch here a little further back. We'll watch that 76 and then the 3 car here. See Jim Brooks, he's going to jump to the apron. I think just gets underneath him. And then you see here comes Michael Spell. He makes evasive action, gets to the apron there. Has to go through the grass a little bit to avoid it as well. But he's able to steer clear of that one as well. So great driving by those guys. And like I said, also the 48 James Ledford is able to get it pointed back in the right direction as well. So no harm, no foul for him. Maybe a little bit of damage, but again, I think that'll be pretty easily fixed. And again, I think beneficiary of this is, unfortunately, like I mentioned, is going to go to this 44 of Dwight Plesh. Although he's got some left. Oh, I think that damage is actually from the earlier contact between himself and the 12 car. So I'll wait here as I go through the start-finish line and see if that 44 does indeed get the wave around. And plus, the 88 Michael Spell's in the pits. I thought he might pit there to just get back on cycle, or stay out to get a lap back, but he stays out. And yeah, sure enough, there goes that 44. So he's going to get that lap back, and he'll be back onto the lead lap here. Alright, so everybody's getting their cars here serviced. Looks like 4 tires and fuel for everybody, almost perfectly synchronized there too. So you see James Ledford, though, he's going to probably get some damage repair to that one. Looks like the 53 is going to win the race off, 81 in second. Close fight between the 70 and 79. Jim Brooks will come out in 5th, I believe. And then you saw Michael Spell, he's rolling out of there as well. And you see the rest of these drivers here getting some damage repair. To say those were the 3 involved in the incident, of course, as well. Charles Johnson, Jack Walls, and James Ledford, so they're going to get that damage fixed. I'm saying there goes Jack Walls in the 83 car. He's going to get rolling again. 44 Dwight Plesh, he's going to get into his pit stall and get some damage repaired, and then tires and fuel to that car. And yeah, I'll say up front here, 53 is going to still show as our race leader. Tried the 2-tire stop earlier. It didn't seem like it was too terrible. This time he took 4, and he's going to still hang on to the lead here. So we're going to restart with less than 40 to go. So now from here, it is definitely a one-stop race to the finish for all of these drivers. So we'll see what the plan is going to be for them. So while they're under yellow though, we will step away and we'll join here on the 1 to go. Alright, leaders approaching turns 3 and 4. So we're going to restart this race with 38 laps remaining. We say front row is going to be that 53 of Quabi Brooks, 81 of Todd Merkel. Second row is going to be that 70 of Timothy Wright and the 79 of Ted Decker Jr. And then rounding out the third row is going to be the 76 of Jim Brooks and the 12 of Robbie Richards. Again, these drivers will have one more pit stop to make before this race is over with tonight. So, say they can still have a little bit of strategy in play when to see when they want to make that pit stop. 2 tires, 4 tires, what the best option is going to be for them there. But until we get to that point, say we still got at least 20 laps until we get to that point in the race where we're going to have those questions. Now it's going to be just getting through the gears here on this restart, and we'll see who's able to hold the lead here on this restart. Like a pretty good start there for that 53. He's going to get ahead here, and it actually looks like the 70 of Timothy Wright, he's going to sneak underneath the 81 of Todd Merkel. That's going to be for that second spot. Todd can drop to the bottom there. He does, and you see Jim Brooks able to sneak around that inside of that 79 of Ted Decker Jr. Ted's kind of just unfortunately going to be, looks like, pinned up top here for a little bit. However, here comes that 70 of Timothy Wright. He's going to waste no time, uses the momentum on that top side and gets around the 53. So move that 70 now up into the lead. Todd Merkel's going to follow along and see if he can grab that second place back from that number 53 car. You see him bobble there a little bit on the entry, able to gather it back up, and he's going to right now show in that third position. We'll see how they go as this run continues on. Just past the halfway point in the race, 37 laps remaining. I'll say right now still our leader Timothy Wright, but again we've seen that 53 work really well on the top side. He was able to get to the outside of Charles Johnson a little earlier, doing the same thing here. So we'll see if he's able to try to make more of this happen again. Right now he's looks like to the door of Todd Merkel for second. So he's still got a little ways to go. As you can see there, it's definitely starting to fan out a little bit. Looks like everybody's trying to get all they can here. Oh, you see the 12 of Robbie Richards caught the wall a little bit through turns 3 and 4, able to hang on to it here, and looks like he will stay in the lead draft as well. That's going to be huge for Robbie. So he needs to, of course, needs to try to stay in this draft to be able to be in contention for the win here, as we still have 36 laps remaining. Up front of that 53, just slowly but surely kind of crawling a little bit further closer to that number 70 as he makes that momentum work on this top side. Oh, you see the 79 Ted Ecker Jr. saw him get loose on entry. We are under caution. Oh, heavy hit there. So Ted's able to sneak around to that bus. However, I saw 76 of Jim Brooks. He's got heavy damage. I believe I also saw the 83 of Jack Walls. He indeed was involved as well. And it may have also been Charles Johnson. Yeah, Charles Johnson, the 28. He also was in this one. So a lot of heavy contact for these guys. I think, unfortunately, it was just the 79. Looks like he got a little bit loose entering turn number 3. And we've seen that a lot. That's kind of one of the trouble spots here at Talladega, especially if you've got. We'll see if the 79 had anybody tucked up on the back of him, because that definitely makes it just that much worse. See the 79 here on the entry. You can already see it looks like it's stepping out just a little bit here. You can see the wheels already turned to the right. You can see his hands too. They're all the way to the right there. That car just does not want to go. And so, yeah, unfortunately, Ted's going to get the wall that you saw there. He gets into the 76 of Jim Brooks. 83 of Jack Wells, nowhere for him to go. Same thing for Charles Johnson. And this is that heavy hit I saw for that 76 of Jim Brooks. Hard contact with that outside wall. And then then slides right back into the path of the 83 of Jack Walls. Looks like Robbie Richards just snuck by in the 12 car. So that's going to put us back under yellow here. Jim went ahead and took a fast repair. He's going to get back out on track, stay on the lead lap. So now the hope here for Michael Spell. That car does look clean, so I don't think he was involved. This will finally get Michael one of those 2 laps back. That's why I was mentioning the idea of doing that wave around there to get one of them that way, and then this would get him back on the lead lap. So, but it looks like should at least get one here. We'll keep an eye on that number 3 machine. So as the leaders are all in the pits, we'll see what there's. It wasn't that long ago they pitted, so we might see some fuel only or 2 tire stops for the leaders. And we're watching that number 3 car, and yep, there he goes. All right, so he's going to get one of those 2 laps back. And now we're going to see this race in the pits. And it looks like I actually thought we'd see some 2-tire strategy, but we're not at this point. And this might be the strategy here, is to take the 4 tires now, take 2 later. And 53 gets a good pit exit. I think he's going to just get out with the lead over that number 70 of Timothy right there. And it looks like I think I saw Todd Merkel there in 3rd. So I think those are going to be top 3 here on this restart. So right now you see it's showing the 76 of Jim Brooks there, but he had to pit under while the pits were closed. So he's going to have to fall to the back of the line here. So that 76 is going to wind up dropping back. But so say that's going to be our top 3 is going to be that 53, then the 70, and then the 81. So again, we're back under yellow here, unfortunately, tonight at Talladega. We have 34 to go. Going to restart with probably just over 30 to go, maybe like 31 or so to go. And again, they'll still need to make one more pit stop to get to the end. So stick around. We'll see what's going to happen here at the end. Alright, so we saw a little fuel strategy for the 53. Is going to top off a little bit, just to take that a little bit less fuel here, potentially for this run. Let's say, again, try to get to this run to the end. If they get that green flag pit stop, it's going to be just that little bit less fuel he would have to take. So we'll see if that comes into play. Again, we saw Jim Brooks there in the 76. He had to pit that first time due to the motor damage. So he's going to restart here at the end of this pack as well. And of course, we mentioned Michael Spell getting one of those 2 laps back, so he's going to be just 1 lap down now. Again, say, as an admin, probably don't want to see another yellow. As a competitor, you definitely want to see another yellow. So we'll see what's going to happen there. And say, with that pit stop as well, it's going to now put the 70 of Timothy Wright to the front. Next to him is going to be that 81 of Todd Merkel. In third is James Ledford, and then in fourth is Jack Walls. Alright, cars are coming through turn number 4 here, so we'll wait for that pace car to duck off. That's going to put it back or put it into the hands now of Timothy Wright, and then on the outside Todd Merkel. And so again, that 70 can fire off whenever he wants to once that pace car leaves the racing surface and gets into the pits. So if he wanted to, he could actually jump right here in just a second if he wanted. However, again, I think we're going to see him wait a little further down the backstretch, or down the backstretch, down the tri-oval before he gets going here. So again, they don't want to get too big of a lead here, so we'll see what happens in this next restart. Oh, you can see actually that 48 was James Ledford was ready to roll. But yeah, pretty good restart there for the outside line. Todd Merkel, he's going to stay right to the door of that 70 as they come through 1 and 2. So we'll see if he can make something happen on the top side, get some momentum going for himself. But right now, again, that inside line is going to have the shorter way around, so he's going to have the advantage for the short run. But we'll see if Todd's able to make the momentum work here as the run progresses. So right now, the Timothy Wright holding on to lead. James Ledford just got to second. You can see actually Todd Merkel, he wants to get to the bottom, so he's going to drop down there for that third spot. And then here comes that 44, Dwight Plesh. He's now fighting for fourth with the 28 of Charles Johnson. Alright, so we just started lap number 45 of 75. Next time around, we'll have 30 to go. Again, probably about 10 laps until the pit window opens here. But I have a feeling we'll see these drivers probably run it a little bit long on this run, then try to probably pit as late as possible on the last run. I'll say, but up front, though, you can see actually it looks like that 48, James Ledford, he's going to get to the inside here. A little surprised Timothy's going to give up the inside line there. I thought he would stay low. But that's going to open the door, though, and say, you're not going to, James isn't going to wait and let you get that spot back, so he's going to take that advantage of that one, get to the inside here, and he's going to grab the lead here at the moment through the tri-oval. But we'll see how that top line is working. Maybe Timothy saw something that he liked on the top end. So right now, though, that we got pretty much 2x2 for the front 2 rows, working on getting the first 3 rows actually running 2x2 with that 12 and the 79. And just nosing ahead right now is that 48, but I wonder if that nose damage is affecting his top end speed just a little bit here, potentially. So I'll say we'll see if that comes into play, because again, you see that 70, though, he gets a big run there off of 2, and he's going to get back to lead and get to the bottom. So yeah, so I think that nose damage to that number 48 machine just is actually hampering his top end a little bit here. So might be okay in the draft, but I don't know if he's got what he needs here to lead at this point in the race. So I think we'll definitely see a fast repair from that number 48 car here on this next pit stop. Say stay 2x2 now. Charles Johns. Oh, contact between the two of them. We're gonna have trouble. We're gonna have a caution here. You can see everybody spinning around there. See the 28 of Charles Johnson in the back there going around. And it looks like for the most part not as wild as I thought it could wind up being there. So that's going to put us back under yellow here though. So let's see what happened to bring this one out. So it looked like just a little bit of movement there off of the turn. So let's take a look. So you watch the 28 and the 70 here. Oh, actually, I think the 70 may have got a little bit of a push from the 48, possibly. That or just got the air out from underneath him. Let's see if we can get a better angle here. Let's jump up top. No, I can't see anything from there. I don't know. I think the 70 may have just got loose, actually. So you're watching. Oh, it'd also help if I'm yeah. All right, so we're gonna watch. We're watching from the chopper view here. Watch that 70 car, and it looks like just. I think it just. Again, these things kind of wander on the backstretch. You can see, yeah, he starts moving to the right there. It looked like he got a push from the 48. I don't know if it did or not. I think this car got a little bit wiggly. But I say that's where that 28 though made contact, and then that's okay. So he also made contact with the 12 car. That's what sent him around. But I say I think for the most part, though, everybody else is able to sneak around this one. Obviously, the critical one we want to definitely keep an eye on is going to be Michael Spell, which is so you see him here a little further back. Yeah, he's taking no risk. He goes way out of the way. So after all that, I think it was pretty much just the 28 that went around there. So again, he should be able to get back into the pits without any troubles. But up front, though, looks like we do have the leaders pitting here. Again, we'll see if there's any strategy on tires or fuel. However, that's going to be a huge break for Michael Spell. It's going to get him back onto the lead lap now. And so, yeah, so sure enough, here come all of our leaders. And now it's just going to be oh, you see the 44 overshot his pits just a little bit. So we'll see what these drivers do for this pit stop. Looks like everybody went with 4 here, so I see a bunch of 20 to 21, 22 second pit stops there. However, that the 12 of Robbie Richards looked like he got a really good pit stop there, and so he's going to come out, I believe, with the lead here. So looks like right now it's going to be Robbie Richards, Jack Walls, Timothy Wright, Todd Merkel, James Ledford will be our top 5. So while we're riding around here under yellow for a moment, we will step away. Mention, of course, Michael Spell is back on the lead lap, and unfortunately, it looks like at the moment, it looks like Charles Johnson may have retired from the race. So we'll wait and see, try to confirm that one. But with that, though, we're going to have 10 cars on the lead lap, so we'll step away for a moment and then rejoin here on the one to go. All right, so you see the field here coming out of turn number 2. Lights are off on the pace car. Had a few drivers here make that strategy called top off, including the 53, the 44, and the 88. I think that's going to be a really good call here because, again, we're going to restart with 25 to go. And if we can get to the end from the end here, say if they need to make another stop, which I think they will, they should be able to just probably take a splash or so of fuel, and that's probably all they'll do here. So we'll have to wait and see if that's going to happen. If that's going to happen with this go around on this one. Alright, so lights are off. You see the pace cars jumping into the pits. So again, it's going to be up to Robbie Richards when he wants to get going here. Say Jack Walls and Timothy Wright just going to try to react as quick as possible. And there goes this time. And say it's one of the first times we've seen the leader go early. And it looks like it may have caught a few drivers by surprise, because you can see he's definitely been able to separate himself a little bit from this group in front. And so he's going to build a little bit of a gap. And so yeah, you can see there that some of those drivers were not expecting it, so we've got a pretty spread out field here on this restart. Again, though, we'll see them, I think, start kind of closing back in as the speeds pick up. However, a few of those drivers further back might be in a little bit of trouble. You see Jack Walls, he's gotten to the back. He's going to go right away, try to get to the inside, get the momentum, and try to get the lead here through backstretch entering turn number 3. He's going to do so with no problem. So move Jack Walls now into the race lead. Say behind them, it looks like James Ledford right now is in the 3rd spot. Same thing for James. He's going to try to take advantage of this. And I want to take a look at that front corner panel of that car. Surprisingly, he has not fixed the damage yet. Must be saving it for the last run to the finish. Oh, is he close there between these 4 drivers here up front. So they are, as I say, business definitely picking up. But right now, say we'll see how these 4 are able to do. Actually, these 5, I should say. You see the 70, Timothy Wright. He's right there as well. So the next cars we got to watch are going to be that 76 of Jim Brooks, Ted Decker Jr., Quabi Brooks. They are just a little bit off of this pack, but I think they're going to be close enough to pick up the draft. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some pretty quick lap times from those 3 drivers here with that tow that they've got right now. So now James Ledford, he's found himself back up into the lead here. And yeah, so here comes the 76. So he's able to get back to the to this pack here. Oh, we see Robbie there off of Trioval. See, he was able to hang on to it. We've seen drivers with that kind of, they have that arc there and they get really loose, but it looks like he's able to hang on to it. And yeah, so here comes all the pack now, all back together. See the 76 of Jim Brooks. He's right there with him, as is the 53 of Quabi Brooks. So they're going to all be back into this pack here. So now the next 2 that I need to try to catch up are going to be the 44 here of Dwight Plesh and the 3 of Michael Spell. I'll say they're just a little bit off of it at the moment, but I think if they can hustle it, I think they can get back up there, though, for sure. See the 81 Todd Merkel, he's found his way back to the front here. He's up into that 2nd spot now. However, he's got the 70 of Timothy Wright to his outside. And watching as they go through the turn, it looks like Timothy's got pretty good momentum. Again, I don't know if that 48's got the pace up front to lead with that nose damage. So I think that's where the 70 is going to really need to try to capitalize at the moment here. So we'll see if he's able to actually do so or not. But right now he's definitely getting some pretty good exits. But you can see the nose damage on that 48 James Ledford. I'm not sure if he realizes how bad it is or if he just really wants to save that fast repair to the end. But all right, now though, our front drivers here running 2x2. So I thought I saw also Ted Decker Jr. there. Yep, 79. He's joined the party here as well. And yeah, sure enough, you see Dwight Plesh, Michael Spell. They're able to catch this pack as well. So we're going to have all the top 10 here in contention here as we come around. We're going to have 21 to go at the line. And again, the 3 drivers, I should say, I want to keep an eye on are going to be that 53, the 44, and the 3 car. They all pitted on that 1 to go, so Are they going to go full fuel save mode, or are they going to try to maybe just take a little bit less fuel in the pit stop or not? Again, if we get to that point in the race with the green flag pit stop. So we'll keep an eye on those three, because right now they're all in those last three positions. I wonder if they're just kind of in cruise control right here. However, you see Timothy Wright able to get back to the front in that number 70. So he's going to lead the way. You see Robbie Richards trying to work around the top of the 48 of James Ledford through the tri-oval. Again, James has pretty good pace as long as he's got a car in front of him to draft with him. But it looks like, again, Robbie's going to have the momentum, though. He's going to sneak around, and that's going to move Robbie now up into second, move James back to third. And then now the battles with Todd Merkel, 79 of Ted Decker Jr., and of course the 48 of James Ledford as well. But right now, say things up front, I say definitely nothing is settled. So you can see they're really not taking it easy. You can see how spread out they are here, looking almost 3 wide there for a moment. Looks like they're able to get it back 2 wide here as they go through 3 and 4. It's like James touched the apron just a little bit there in 3-4. Definitely cost him some momentum. So that's going to open the door for that 79 Ted Decker Jr. He's making a big charge on the top side, and I think as I say that, he gets too loose. Oh, he's going to try to hang on to it. Oh my goodness, good heads up driving by those guys. You see Robbie definitely gave some room there. It's like cost Robbie a little bit of time there, but everybody able to keep it pointing in the right direction. I was going to say is I think Todd Merkel saw everybody going to the top around the 48, so he decided, you know what, I need to get going too, as he's close to door there with the 79 of Ted Decker Jr. going through turns 3 and 4. So right now this is the battle for the lead between that 70, the 81, and the 79. We're going to come around to 18 to go at the line. Again, I feel like everybody's going to probably still need to make some pit stops, at least just a splash of fuel, I believe. But these drivers sometimes have shown me they get some really good fuel mileage, better than what I was expecting. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. However, up front, though, we are side by side for the lead. Todd Merkel to the outside, Timothy Wright on the inside. We'll see if Todd's able to make that momentum work on the top and see if he can get some draft as well, which right now it looks like he's got the 83 of Jack Walls kind of joining the mix here. And you see Ted Decker Jr. is trying to find a little way around as well, but just doesn't have it at the moment. Oh, you see Todd gets a little loose there in 3 and 4. He's able to keep the wheel pointed straight, though, and he's going to keep after it here. Probably didn't even lift knowing him. So that's going to continue this fight up front for the lead. You can see he's just got just a nose ahead. But again, it's all about who gets through the turns better with the momentum and everything. Even though this is a plate race, it's pretty wild how just how much you still have to really drive these cars, though. See a front 2 row still running 2x2. James Ledford, Robbie Richards, they're running single file behind. See Jim Brooks, he's moving his way up just a little bit here. Bobby Brooks right behind him. Dwight Plush, Michael Spell, they're still all in the mix as well. Again, we'll see. I still want to watch that 53, the 44, and the 88, or sorry, 53, 44, and the 3, if they're going to be trying to save fuel or not. And say, while we were watching that, you see Todd Merkel, he's got to the lead now in that number 81. But again, he's going to have a lot of company behind him with that 70. You can see already he's trying to get to the top side and get that momentum back around on the outside. Oh, Todd gets loose through the trial. It's going to cost him a little bit of momentum. And sure enough, here comes that 70 of Timothy Wright. He's going to get the spot back. He's going to jump right back down to the bottom here through turn number 1 and 2. So all that work for Todd Merkel. And say got the lead for a moment, but then Timothy able to take advantage and get right back to the front here. See that 81 now riding on board with Todd Merkel's got the momentum again. He's going to hold it to the bottom here, as I think might be just trying to save his stuff a little bit and make a later charge once it's really time to go. But right now he's just kind of holding steady here for the moment. But I say he's obviously can't wait too long, because he's going to have, I'm sure, a lot of company behind him yet. And sure enough, you see Jack Wells right on the back spoiler of the 81, and on the top side you see Ted Decker Jr. in that 79 car trying to make another charge up top. We are at 15 to go here at Talladega. Again, say scheduled distance is 75 laps. There is the potential, of course, of up to 3 green-white checkers. Right now, say we have 15 to go. Fuel's going to be close for a lot of these drivers. I'm not sure if anyone can make it, or if they'll all have to take a splash of fuel or not. Say a few drivers that topped off at that one to go again were that number 3 car, who's starting to move his way forward, Michael Spell. the 53 of Quabi Brooks and the 44 of Dwight Plush. So we're watching Michael Spell. So he was trapped 2 laps down for a while, finally able to get those laps back. So he's back into contention right now, showing in the 7th position. Nope, sorry, 6th position there. He's making some pretty good gains here, working that top side using that draft. And so as we go side by side for the lead at 70 and 79, that is Timothy Wright and Ted Decker Jr. here battling for the lead. Going down the backstretch right now, you can see everybody starting to stack up there, 2 by 2 by 2 down the back here. Everybody's just trying to find the line that's going to work for them. But again, oh, you can see Ted gets loose on entry. He's able to hang on to it this time. But that's the thing, is you can see just that that 83 of Jack Walls is kind of tied up on the back bumper of him. And that just gets these cars extremely loose. So great hands by Ted, able to hang on to it. Because we've seen a few cars have that happen to him already this evening. Just these cars just... they don't react well, especially on the top side and also with a car right on that back bumper. But I don't think you're going to see a lot of people want to give an... Oh, as I say that, contact. Oh, we're going to have trouble here. So it looks like the 80th... Oh, actually, I think we might somehow stay green, which is unfortunate. So I see 2 cars involved. Looks like the 81 and the 83. Yeah, it's like Todd Merkel involved. Jack Walls involved. Heavy damage for his car. And I think the 79 Ted Deckard as well had some damage to his. And yeah, somehow we stay green here. So let's go back while we're still going. I'll say, well, we'll do a quick look back, see what happened here. So I think... So I want to say I maybe saw the 83 try to get in between the 70 and the 79 here. We'll wait as they go through the turn, see if we get a good angle of it. Oh yeah, you can see right there, Jack just gets into the left rear of Ted Decker Jr. And then unfortunately Todd Merkel, wrong place at the wrong time. So that's where that contact happened between them. And then it's like, well, we'll follow these two because they had heavy contact with that inside wall. And so yeah, it's a pretty heavy damage for both those cars. You saw it blew the motor of the 83, and the 81 of Todd Merkel just wound up looping around here as well. So they're just limping along right now, unfortunately. I'm probably hoping for a yellow at this point to get back in the mix. The 83 had to make a pit stop. Up front, though, we're still going green, though. Like I said, we are at 11 to go. Timothy Wright still holding on to the lead. Now you see Michael Spell. He's trying to make that top side still work. He's right now fighting for that second spot on the outside of James Ledford. And you can see right behind him, Robbie Richards with a big move off of turn number 2. He's trying to find some momentum. And then again, you see that 53, the 76, and the 44. Those drivers all still, you got all of these 7 here still in this lead pack right now fighting for the win. 83 of Jack Wells, he just went ahead and made his pit stop. Again, had to get that damage repaired on that car. 81 of Todd Merkel, he's going to try to limp this thing along, I think, hope for a yellow. And then same thing it looks like for that 79 of Ted Decker Jr. Those two are running right now all by themselves, unfortunately. Alright, we're at 10 to go. You can see the shadows forming here at Talladega. So it's starting to say it looks like it's about 5 o'clock at the track. So shadows definitely going to start getting pretty long here. It looks like actually the whole track right now is pretty much covered in shadows. So we'll see if that gives these cars possibly a little bit more grip, or even might even have get these cars a little bit looser. We'll have to see. But right now the track temperature is at 75 degrees. So I would say it's a pretty cool track right now for these drivers. So, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see what they've got in store for us as we're going to come around now to 9 to go, and these drivers have gone about 18 or so laps on this fuel run as well. So again, I heard pit windows in that 22-23 lap range. So we'll see if that still comes into fruition, or if some drivers are trying to save fuel pretty aggressively here. And of course, the next question will be, if we do get green flag pit stops, who's going to blink first? Does someone want to try to pit early and get a really aggressive entry and exit, or do you want to stay in that draft as long as possible? So I'm watching lap times right now. These leaders are running in the 46.8s or so. And then, yeah, actually, let's see. I'm trying to find the next driver who pitted there. The 83 of Jack Walls would be a good one to watch. Let's see what he ran there. Was a 47.0. So he was about 0.2 slower by himself, though. So again, that still is not that's not too bad. I mean, if you can get a really good entry and exit, that could be something that comes into play later on in this race. Again, we talked about the fuel savings right now. The three that topped off on that one to go, again, are the three of Michael Spell, who's running in third, the 53 of Quabi Brooks, who's in fifth, and the 44 of Dwight Plush, who is in seventh. And so again, we'll see if that's going to be them to get to the end on fuel, or if that's just them trying to take that little bit less fuel to make it to the finish. I'm saying these drivers have yet to have a green flag pit stop, so they're not going to be ready for. They're going to have to get pretty acquainted with the brakes and everything on these cars pretty quickly. Again, we talked about how bad these brakes are on these cars. They are a handful to wrangle. So we'll see if that comes into play. You see Dwight Plush, he's trying to make the top side work right now. Looks like he got around the 76 of Jim Brooks, and looks like he's going to stay to the top here through 1 and 2. And you see they're coming up, unfortunately, on that 81 of Todd Merkel with that contact he had earlier. So say there, it looks like they're going to all try to go around the inside of him here. That's going to put Todd 1 lap down. But again, he would be the first car 1 lap down should a yellow come out. So he would get the wave around and be still back in contention here. So I think we're going to see that 81 stretch it as far as he can on fuel until he makes his pit stop, just to be able to stay in that position ideally. See up front, you still see that 44 Dwight Plush. He's starting to make that move now in that 44 machine. He's now gotten around the 53 of Quabi Brooks, as well as now working around the outside of the 12 of Robbie Richards. That's going to move Dwight now into 5th, working on 4th as they go through 3 and 4. So we'll see, keep an eye on this battle here for this 4th position as we're going to come around. This is going to be 5 to go this time by. So again, we talked about that field number. I don't know if anybody can make it or not. It looks like if they can, they're going to try to, or if they can't, they're going to wait as long as possible to make that pit stop. Again, if I'm some of these drivers, though, I'm kind of leaning towards the pit maybe a lap earlier than your competition, get a clean entry, clean exit, and I think that's going to be where you can build that gap to be able to try to have a chance at the win, especially with the short run to the end here with the pit stop, if they do need one. Oh, he saw 76 of Jim Brooks. He pushed really hard off of 2, kept it off the wall, but you see he's starting to fall off the pack just a little bit in that number 76. So he's been one that's been pretty good at his pit stops here. Mostly, I think, with the Indy cars, but you kind of get familiar with it. So we'll see this time around. Is anybody going to jump? And no, everybody stays out. So these guys are having me second guessing now my fuel guesses with these guys. I wonder if they can actually all make it, and I'm just been given some bad information just to make me look bad here. That driver on the move, though, that 44 Dwight Plush, he's now gotten around the 12, now side by side for 3rd with the 88 of Michael Spell. Again, those two drivers side by side, they topped off on that 1 to go. So this could be, depending on those drivers in front, if they saved enough fuel or not. Can any of these drivers make it to the end? That's going to be something we're going to have to keep an eye on for sure. But right now, this is that battle for 3rd. Dwight's one of the few here working the top line, and he's doing it really well. I talked again about how Dwight's usually pretty good at taking care of his tires. I think he's coming and showing that right now, as they being able to really start maximizing the speed on that car here as he goes to the outside now, fighting for 2nd with James Ledford. And he's going to try to make that momentum, see if he can carry that all the way up to the front here. Alright, we've got 3 to go. Next time around we'll be at 2 to go. So right now, though, that 44 Dwight Plush, he's getting a good run to say. Now he's got to be careful, though. He's got that 12 Robbie Richards right on that back bumper, and that's where these cars get loose. So hopefully he's ready for that. You can see he steps out a little bit from him, but looks like he's going to hang on to it nicely. And he's going to be right to the door of that 70 of Timothy Wright for the lead. And here comes our race leader, that 70. He is in the pits. He could not make it to the end. He's got a pit here coming to 2 to go. That's going to put it into the hands now of the 44 Dwight Plush, as he just noses ahead of that 48 of James Ledford. So Dwight's going to take the low as he gets loose through 1 and 2. He's going to hang on to it there. You saw a close call as well between Robbie Richards and I believe that was Michael Spell. So now the question is, can James Ledford make it to the end? I say he's one of those drivers that did not top off, so we'll keep an eye on him. You You see Michael Spell all over the back bumper of that 48 machine. Quabi Brooks on the inside as well. Dwight's going to stick with that top side, though. And again, we also mentioned that damage to that 48 machine. That's going to hurt his top end leading this race. So let's watch to see if anybody peels off or if they're going for broke here. And yep, everybody's staying out. So right now the 70 is the only driver that did not pit. So right now these drivers just need to try to get to the white flag here, and we will race back to the finish. And it looks like we have done so. So we are on the one to go here at Talladega. Fighting for the lead is on the inside. It's a 48 James Ledford, 44 Dwight Plesh, Michael Spell there in third, Robbie Richards there right behind him. So now it's just who can get the push, get the momentum going. You can see they're moving all over the place, trying to find a spot to go. Right now James has the position that he needs on the inside. Dwight's trying to make the momentum go on the outside, but right now you can see Robbie Richards thinking about trying to go 3 wide. Dwight's able to hold on to it, though. Now does that 48 have enough fuel to stretch it to the finish line? So if he sputters here, they're going to be all over him. We're going to go 3 wide, it looks like, coming to the line. You see 53 at Quabi Brooks. He's going to try to sneak underneath. Oh, we got contact in front. Oh, we got cars around. That was almost identical to last night's race. I'm not sure who won that race. It looks like it's going to be James Ledford getting the win there. Looks like Quabi Brooks will get second, Robbie Richards third. Let's go back and look at that one closer and in slow motion, because that's 2 nights in a row. We've had some wild finishes coming to the finish. So I see the 48 here and the 3 car, they were running close. I had a feeling that 53 was going to try to duck underneath them here. And so you can see there the 3 gets extremely loose. I think just that bad entry he had, that's going to get him into the 48 of James Ledford. And then let's say from there, so you can see the 53 of Quabi Brooks. He's trying to sneak by there, but I think he just gets contact right there. Yep, right there from Robbie Richards. And then as they come across the line here, we'll slow things down because you can see the 48 of James Ledford. He's pointing to the inside wall. 53 is pointing to the outside wall. And yeah, so there it is. James Ledford gets the win. Just on his way to wrecking, so you can see behind them. Let's see, now let's see how wild this finish was for the 3rd position. So yeah, that's a crazy finish. You see that 3 car in the air. So oh my goodness. Alright, so with that, we need to pull up some drivers for some interviews. Let's say we're definitely have to talk about that finish. So let me try to hunt these drivers down. I gotta fix our overlay because I can't pull up. Robbie Richards. I don't know if any of you saw the race last night with the Indy cars, but it was kind of a similar deal where these cars were just the winner actually was going backwards across the start finish line, just won by his rear wing, I guess you could say. So let's go back a little bit so we can get a better look at how this all unfolded here, and we'll actually jump to a further angle, see if we can get a better shot of it as well. So while we do that, though, we're going to pull in our 3rd place finisher of Robbie Richards. I'll say that was probably one of the more, I'd say we were talking about last night's race being probably one of the wildest finishes I've been a part of. I think you guys are just trying to one up each other now with these finishes that you had tonight. Was, I'd say, probably just that much more crazy at the end.
Yeah, man, that was definitely wild. I believe if Michael could have held it, I believe he would have nosed out James there. I think he would have got him. But the old tires, man, they got us all there at the end.
Yeah, no, those tires were definitely starting to wear, and so that's where I saw the 44 Dwight Plesh. I've talked about him. Dwight's always pretty good on his tires, and he started making that charge towards the end. Then he got loose a little bit, and then it cost him a little bit of time and fell back. But yeah, you're right. I think what happened with Michael is that entry he had into the trial, but we saw one driver do it earlier, and the same thing happened. If you get that arc wrong, and say these cars with the trials, you can't just fling them around. It's definitely a handful for them. But yeah, I mean that was a wild finish there. I don't think you were upside down, but you were definitely sliding across the line there. I mean, were you just trying to get everything you could there at the end, or did you have in those final laps, were you trying to position yourself in a certain spot ideally?
Well, I'd say probably I'd say about lap 58 or so, I started saving fuel. I had about a gallon and a half or so to save. So I kind of fell back in line. And once I knew that I was good to go, I was committed on finishing behind Dwight. I was going to push him up to the win. I was committed with it. And then he got loose. And then Michael made his move. And I think I ended up crossing the line on my side. If it wasn't for Jim, though, I think Jim's the one who pushed me across the line to let me get the top three. So I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, it looks like it gave you a little extra bum there. So not the kind of bum drafting we're used to, but it looks like it definitely helped you out there, like you said, and able to get you just across the line a little bit further here. But yeah, I mean, that was definitely a wild finish there for you guys tonight. And I wasn't sure if anybody was going to be able to make it on fuel, so it sounds like you guys did a great job of saving there to the end. But yeah, so great job, great results. Say obviously a wild finish there at the end. So congrats, and definitely want to give you an opportunity to any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for your sideways through the line almost backwards there, third place finish.
Yeah, man. I want to thank Dwight, Michael, Timothy, all of them. We all kind of worked together, and we worked together just about pretty much every race. And we all was able to form a line there, and we was all close. I think Timothy, with him running up front most of the time, he wasn't able to save. But I want to thank all them guys for being able to save enough for us all to get up front. It's definitely a good thing when we all work together. We're all able to finish up front. Again, I thank Jim for pushing me across the line so I can get that top three for like third, fourth week in a row. So we'll take it.
Yeah, so I say if you're going to get a third place finish, might as well make it exciting. So yeah, great job, Robbie. Wild finish again. So congrats and say yeah, and I'll let you take it easy, relax a little bit, and look forward to catching you again here soon.
Thank you, Gail. Appreciate it.
All right, that's our third place finisher there, Robbie Richards. Now we got to pull up another one of these drivers with that wild finish. There's our pusher, Jim Brooks. He's going to wind up in the fourth position, it looks like. And then we got to pull up the 53 and see what he went through there coming to the finish as well. So let's go and get this all queued up for that number 53 machine. Look like you're going to be able to clear the craziness there, and maybe even be able to sneak out a win there, and then just got a little bit of contact trim that right rear, saying that sent you towards the outside wall. But I don't know if you were able to see the finish of the race last night with the Indy cars, but I was mentioning there to Robbie, I think you guys won up that one tonight.
Yeah, I did see the finish of the IndyCar race last night. Still not 100% sure if the timing reflects things accurately there, but I suppose the timing is really for cars being on the ground pointed forwards.
Yeah, when you got a car, you got the rear wing crossing the line first. Yeah, I don't know how it actually kind of bases it all off of, but I saw you top off on the one to go. Same thing for the 3 car as well as the 44. I thought that was going to possibly be enough to get you to the end. I wasn't sure if the other leaders were going to be able to make it to the end. Was that kind of your mindset too? Is just give yourself that little bit of extra in case they have to come in for a splash at the very end?
Yeah, exactly. I knew it was borderline. I ended up saving a lot of fuel at the end. I figured at some point we're going to get a green flag run, and these cars don't drive super nice on old tires, so try to stay back, save my stuff. So I had an extra lap beyond that, so I didn't need to top off. But then I think being up in the mix, I would have used more fuel, so it would have been a little bit stressfully borderline at that point.
Yeah, I think obviously with the shorter field, let's say there's not too much of a reason not to top off too. Not like you're going to lose a ton of position. So I'm guessing coming through the trial, when you saw the contact between the two next to you, you probably saw the C's parting for you to sneak away. And then I don't know if you ever saw that 12 coming to that quarter panel to send you around there. So I mean, what was from your point of view? I mean, what did you see?
Yeah, so I actually made a mistake earlier on and didn't pit the first time around, so I couldn't pit the second time. So I ended up being out front, and I wanted to go up on the high lane. I was having pretty good time in the middle of the race, fighting people off in the low line, relatively by myself up high. But that didn't end up being an option, so I ended up going down low. Got pretty loose in the middle of the tri-oval, and so I had to walk it up the track just a little bit to catch it, and that's when things started coming down. So I try to keep it down. I can sort of had a sense that things were coming my direction and got tagged in the rear. And I thought at first I probably won it because my car is mostly pointed straight, but not quite.
Yeah, so you were pointed at pretty good angle to the outside wall. James pointed to the inside wall. So yeah, it was a pretty wild finish for the both of you there. Well, actually for everybody there. But yeah, I mean you're able to at least grab that in the second spot. Say the four-legged announcer, he's excited about the finish. But yeah, so definitely want to give you opportunity though. Thanks and shouts. I think this is your second runner-up in a row. I want to say I can't remember if last week was North Wilkesboro or not, but so you've had a couple good results here with these 87 cars. Seems like it suits you pretty well.
Yeah, North Wilkesboro last week, another second. I'll take it. Like these 87 cars. Thanks again for the broadcast, and I guess thanks to my kids for not fighting each other. I think I'm gonna go make them dinner now.
That sounds like a fair deal there. So if they cooperate, they get to get fed. So I'm sure they get fed either way, but just in case anybody else is listening. But yeah, so congrats though. Say good run though. Say like you said, just a little bit off at the end. Say just got that clip there, and unfortunately that I think cost a little bit of momentum, but still again wild finish, and say it was definitely fun to be able to watch there.
Good race. It was fun.
All right, so now we got to pull up our race winner, that 48 of James Ledford. You can see he's got various kinds of smoke coming out the front of that car, and I say not all of it is the ones he's wanting. So let's go ahead and pull up that number 48. We'll get his point of view here. All right, pulling up our race winner. So James, you've definitely won your fair share of plate races here with these 87 cars, but I don't think you've won any like this before.
No, I haven't won any like this.
So, I mean, obviously, going into the race, I don't know if you're aware or not, obviously with two of your championship rivals not making the field, I'm sure that kind of boded well for you just in the point standings from the get-go. So I don't know if you were thinking about points, or at that point were you just thinking race win or best result you can get, or did you have any considerations about the points going into it?
I was racing for the win.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a pretty wild race. I mean, a lot of drivers had to work their way back up from some incidents there to carry on to the end. So I was a little worried about the damage on on your car. Did you have any fast repairs left, or were you just saving them in case of for like possibly a late race caution or a pit stop at the end? Or because you'll have to go back and look, but there was definitely a little bit of a hole punched in, I feel like, to that left front of the nose, which seemed like it was hurting your top end speed, especially when you were leading the pack there. So I don't know if that was something you saw as well, or I mean, take us from your vantage point what you were seeing.
I was saving the fast repair for a late race wreck, but it didn't really slow me down or anything. Not that I noticed.
Okay, so yeah, I mean that's what I was curious about, because I know at some points we saw the outside line was getting momentum, which I wasn't sure if it was related to the damage or if it was just the outside line was working well there. But yeah, again, I mean, you're able to get to the lead when it mattered there, protect the inside like you did. I say, unfortunately, I don't think you had an opportunity to do any celebratory burnouts there at the end, as I think you took a pretty hard shot to the inside wall there. But when that all happened, did you still think you were going to be able to hang on to the win, or do you think someone was being able to sneak around there, come to the finish?
I thought I had the win until my car started turning left, and then I thought for sure somebody was going to go by me before the line.
Yeah, I'll say if it makes you feel better, I think everybody's car there was turning at coming out of that tri-oval, so it was a wild finish. Last night's race with the Indy one was a wild one. This one, I think, like I said, I think this one topped it as well. So crazy finish. I mean, congrats on the win. So it's definitely going to help pad that lead by a bunch. So I think you're going to be in a pretty good position here. You've had some really strong races and a bunch of wins as well. So I think that's going to put you in a pretty good position here coming into those final 3 races, I believe it's going to be. But yeah, so with that said, though, definitely want to give you opportunity, though. Any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for getting that crazy win tonight?
I want to give a shout out to my teammates, Michael, Dwight, Robbie, and Timothy. We were running first through fifth there with a couple laps to go, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, you guys are working really well together. And I'll say, unfortunately, Timothy just didn't have the fuel to make it to the end. And I'll say, I think just leading that pack there at the end is what did him in. Were you worried about fuel at all, or were you able to save plenty where you felt like you were good no matter what?
Yeah, I was worried about fuel at the beginning of the run, so I was just staying behind somebody the whole time, saving as much fuel as I could.
Well,
I don't think I would have made it on fuel if I hadn't been saving.
Yeah, so I mean, you guys did a perfect job there. I was curious to see if anybody was going to make it to the end, and sure enough, actually everybody but one was able to. So you guys did everything you needed to do there. So yeah, congrats again, James, on the win. I'll say definitely a wild finish there, but able to pull it off again here at Talladega. Definitely again proving that you're probably the driver to beat. It seems like at these plate races with these 87 cars, because you've got a pretty good track record with them so far this season.
Yeah, Talladega is my favorite track in this car.
I'd say with good reason. It's been a lot of fun to watch. It looks like it's definitely a handful, but still a lot of fun to drive as well. So congrats again on the win, James. Enjoy it. And so look forward to chatting here again with you soon.
All right. Thanks, Kyle.
All right, that's our race winner there, James Ledford, going through that wild finish there to bring it to the conclusion. So we'll do here is we'll run through here this final lap while we go over our results. So again, a little bit of a short field this evening. So say again, our race winner there, James Ledford, is able to get it by just over half a tenth over that 53 of Quabi Brooks. Not quite as close as last night, but again, I think a little bit more of a wild finish there at the end though. Robbie Richards able to grab that third spot with that little bit of a boost from the 76 of Jim Brooks, who's just able to sneak around Dwight Plesh. You can see there by about 100th of a second. And then in sixth, you've got Michael Spell. Timothy Wright winds up seventh, unfortunately having to make that green flag pit stop for a splash of fuel at the end. Jack Walls, you see Jack Walls, Todd Merkel, Ted Decker Jr., they all had that contact, unfortunately, towards the end of that race. That put them out of contention. Really good runs, though, for all of them prior to that. Unfortunately, the final result of the evening, Charles Johnson got caught up in one of those earlier incidents, wound up having to retire from the event. So with that, I'll say that concludes our race for this evening, the Area 51 Racing League 87 Cup Series here at Talladega. A wild finish for the win. As everything cuts off on me, apologies. As they went for the win there at the end, pretty wild at the end. But yeah, so say tomorrow night we will have the regular Cup cars, the new Cup cars, if you will. Again, say there is a new build, so for those that might be participating in that one, make sure you get it downloaded because it's a pretty decent sized update. We'll see if that comes into play with maybe some changes with the tire models, things like that. So I haven't gone through all the build notes, but say either way though, it's going to be a lot of fun though tomorrow night as well. So look forward to catching you all tomorrow evening. And that being said though, until then, I hope you all have a wonderful evening. And remember, if you can, please try to stay home, stay safe, wash your hands, and have a good night.